King speak again, Percy King. Um, Today we're going to talk about been looking on the internet, and women are all up in arms after Jeff Bezos had married Lauren Sanchez, saying that men keep talking about how you know single mothers don't have a chance, this that and the other. They're off the dating market, and no high value man would want them, but Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world, he married a single mother of three. Okay. What I basically explained is this. All right. You're talking about a woman who's extremely attractive. Not just extremely attractive. For age 55, she would be extremely attractive if she was 45. All right. She's extremely shaped, well shaped, that is. She's has a lot of things that men generally don't necessarily care about, but they actually add to her ability to have access to, that type of man. One, she's a celebrity. She was like an assistant mayor, I think, in LA. She, owns a flight school. She's a helicopter pilot. She's an actor. She was a news anchor. And her three kids, my understanding is that two come from Hollywood agent that she was married to. And then one comes from a Hall of Fame football tight end. So we're not talking about bone qui. We're not talking about the average woman. We're not even talking about a normal good-looking woman. We're talking about a woman who has access to these type of men, and who is extremely unique. She appears to be extremely fun. So she's not like most of these women who are using her as, for them to believe that they have a shot at a man like that. No, they don't. And here are some of the reasons why. Also broke it down and explained why not just high value men, but men who actually have choices often don't want to deal with a single mom. It's not all men. There are some good ones out there. However, it's extremely difficult to necessarily know if you have one. But there's so many different issues that you can possibly have. I'm just going to go through some of them. Okay. So basically, the first thing I said is competing with the child for priority. Okay. In many of the single mother households, the child becomes basically her world, her man, and shall we say, when she's been single, and he's a priority. So therefore, when you come along, she's going to tell you, oh, he's my priority. If you are protecting, providing, or even expected to provide, yeah, you're not going to really go for that. And then the presence or influence of the biological father. He's still around. He's trying to, visit, co-parenting. There's emotional ties with the woman. He creates complications, including tension, unresolved feelings for influence over the child and the child's upbringing. Him trying to basically be a part of your household, dealing with the child's behavior and discipline. I can tell you, back in the day when I dated them from the very beginning, I said, if this is going to go somewhere, I will never live in a household where I don't get a chance to discipline. That's just me. If, that's not what you do, then we need to stop right now, because I am not going to be the type of man who has to go tell on a damn kid. No. I'm going to treat you like my child, so it won't be any different than my child, but there's no way that I'm not going to be able to discipline. It's not going to be like, oh, well, no, his father, well, that means that you should have stayed with his ass then. Okay. Number 4. A built-in responsibilities without the authority. It just kind of goes back to what I was just talking about. You're supposed to support this child financially, but you're not the dad, and you're only the dad essentially when, there's responsibility, and not necessarily when you want to be, or when, it becomes, to certain decisions. So then they're dealing with the biological father's family. Okay, this comes in during holidays, they may want the kid and you guys want to go somewhere and do something else. Birthdays, school decisions, moving, all those different things can bring their family involved, and, different family members may want to have time with the kid, and it's just a bunch of, stuff that you don't necessarily want to deal with. Emotional baggage and unfinished attachments. Okay. A lot of these women, no matter what, you have a kid with somebody, there's an emotional attachment there. It becomes real difficult to separate that. Maybe unresolved feelings for the ex. That one of the biggest incidents of cheating is you have a kid with somebody and you end up having sex with them at some point in time and cheating on your current person. And then, cultural factors, in the African American families, emphasizes, or at least used to, that the male is the head of the household. And even in other cultures, the male is at the head of the household. But, if he's having to share partial, authority with somebody on the outside, it just doesn't work right. And then just ultimately better options. All right. You think about it. If you're a man and you're extremely busy, and then when you're not busy, you want to have time with your woman, but she's busy doing stuff with her kids, or you can't even see her that often. She's too tired to do things with you. She has all these other, responsibilities and liabilities, but yet and still you're paying for stuff. You're there, you're doing things, and you have responsibilities, and you're just not getting very much out of it. It's just not going to be worth it for you. You're going to have better options. And that's just it. So for women to not understand, this, it doesn't make any sense to me as to why you won't understand it. I finally looked at it and said, okay, why doesn't it make sense to me? Why can't women understand this? And I finally really understood the reason why. It's because, at least generally speaking, women have not been taught to really even give a damn what men want. And especially modern women, they really don't even think about the man. They just think about what they want and what they need. And so many women have just determined that men are supposed to benefit them and not even really seek anything from them, that they don't even care. So they don't even look or even think about, the man. So therefore, that's why they don't see it. That's why they don't, understand it, is because they're like, what do you mean you're supposed to get something out of it? I mean, it's just not making any sense. You're a man. You're just supposed to be there and be a wallet and pay for stuff. And whatever I give you is okay. And you're supposed to accept me the way that I am. So they're not going to understand that because, they're busy telling one another, these women, I'm saying, is that they're all 10s. They're all beautiful. Men supposed to accept you as you are. And they're supposed to do this. And, these are even supposedly Christian women who don't even really understand that they're supposed to be the helpmate, not the man, but they're just basically seeing a man as a means to an end. And that has been the problem why they don't want to understand, the concept even of a man having better options. They see it as, no, I'm your option because I want to be, because I need what you have. That's just not working for most men. So always like, subscribe, and tell me what you think about this. See if you even understand what I'm talking about, and if you think the same way. As always, I'll talk to you soon.